What's going on, guys? Noah White here again with another video. Hope everyone out there is doing good. It's good to see you guys again. Gonna be working on a Lexus today. I went on ahead and broke down and bought a flex fuel sensor. I bought one from ECU Masters. I tend to buy a lot of their stuff, if you guys haven't noticed. It is in fact a GM sensor though. It's made by Continental, and I bought the little AN adapter so I could just easily splice it into my return line that I have here now, so that hopefully everything goes right. And I'll show you guys how to wire it up and kind of set it up on the EMU black if you're using the EMU black. I have already run the car on E85. I kind of just did it the getaway, really. I just took it to the gas station, filled up E85, and then adjusted the computer as I was sitting there letting it idle, and then I was able to kind of just drive it around. So I do have a map that'll work more or less already on full 85, and so yeah, hopefully I can just use that data and enter that, and it can blend between both tables for me. Now I know I said I probably was never going to go E85 on this car, but now that I've been having a few people asking me to tune their cars now, which has been a really good experience, and as you guys know, I am trying to step out into that small little niche with the EMU Black, because it seems to be not too many people tune them or mess with them, and I definitely do. So if you need help with that, definitely hit me up on here or on Instagram, and I can get you guys ready to go. However, I have had some people ask me for E85 tunes, and I don't have any. And it's not that I haven't tuned E85, I just don't have one for this specific car, which basically is why I'm doing this complete install, so that way I can have something ready for you guys, and also I can have a little fun myself, because I've used E85 in the past a lot, and it works really well, especially for something that comes straight out of the pump. If you have access to it, you'll typically pick up between 20 to 30, sometimes 35 horsepower just switching to the fuel alone, not doing anything else. So obviously there's some power. That's a pretty good power jump just for simply switching fuels. So I'm not going to talk too much. Let's just get right in the install. Let me show you what the sensor looks like, and then I'm going to try and show you how I'm going to incorporate it into the return line. You can put this sensor into the feed line or the return line. It doesn't really matter. Preferably the feed line will be better. However, sometimes if you have big pumps, you can really outflow the sensor and the sensor won't read right. So for me, my easiest way for me to put it is in the return line, because I'm using the factory feed line from the IS300, and it's just a metal line on that, so I'm not going to cut into that. I'll just put it into the return line. So let me show you what the sensor looks like, and just show you guys where I'm going to put it at. Here's the sensor here. It comes with 8 feet of wiring harness. Again, I bought this from ECU Masters website. I don't know the part number of it, but if you go on there and find it, they sell it with and without the AN adapters. So if you're just using like a rubber line, I guess you can just hose clamp onto these fittings right here, and you should be all right. But here's the sensor itself. Like I said, it is a Continental sensor. It says it right at the tip of my thumb. Can't really read it, but it's basically a GM sensor, AC Delco sensor, and comes with these little fittings right here, these adapters that will go on to each end of this. And then, I don't know, my camera's not focusing, sorry. Then you need to get yourself, well, I'm going to use some straight 6AN fittings, so that these will screw into these on both sides, and then, obviously a hose in here and hose in here. It doesn't matter what direction you install these, at least it says that on their packaging, and I'm pretty sure that it doesn't matter what direction these go anyway. And then as far as wiring is concerned, you'll have a switched 12 volt, then you'll have the ground, obviously is a black wire chassis ground, and then the white is the sensor output. For the EMU Black, you'll obviously wire this straight to the EMU Black. You can get your power and ground from wherever you want. I'm probably going to try and also gather it from around the EMU Black, just so that all my wiring is kind of terminated in one spot, and I don't have wires like running all over the place and grounding in random places. So yeah, so that's it. It's a pretty simple little kit. Really the most time is probably going to be messing around with the lines. So before I show you where I'm going to put this sensor at, I was going to make another video just doing the overall health check of the Lexus so far. As you guys know, I started this channel about almost 2 years now, and this car has been boosted for a while, probably over a year and a half now, I'm pretty sure. Even when I did the engine swap, I didn't do anything maintenance wise like spark plugs and none of that. I just literally took the engine, put it in here, and kept driving it. So I finally pulled the plugs out, went on ahead and did a compression test as well. The plugs all look perfectly fine. Maybe I'll put a picture of them if I have one, but I totally could have just reused them again if I wanted to, but I just put some fresh NGK iridium plugs in here. I did a compression test too, just trying to check the health. The lowest number was 164 psi and the highest was 178. So the engine is perfectly fine. Those are within 10% of each other, and I'm happy with that. It's running strong. Like I said, I boosted this engine when it had 200,000 miles on it. I don't really drive this car much, and maybe I put 5,000 miles on it or so, or maybe even less than that, but it's basically been living at 10 pounds of boost. Sometimes I touch 12 pounds of boost every now and again, but you know, it's been living, it's surviving. When I put on an 8085 the other day, man, it was feeling really fast. So yeah, so far everything is holding up just fine. I don't have any leaks. I did check my catch can. I check that often. Well, I don't check it too often. I check it, I don't know, I'll probably drive 1,000 miles or so, then I'll empty it, and it's probably got like this much fluid in it every time I empty it out, which is not a ton. You know, it's gonna have some kind of blow by, you know, at some point. I mean, the engine is old and it's just kind of is what it is, but nothing that I'm alarmed about. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the oil change also while I'm doing this. But yeah, let me show you guys where I'm gonna try and put the return, or try and put the sensor. I have my fuel pressure regulator here coming off the rail. I can't really put it into this line because it's just too short. You can't really make that. But the return line just runs straight down under the car. It's right here, where my finger's at. So I might try and see if I can, I don't know if this is gonna really pick any of this up. I might try and see if I can incorporate it somewhere in here, maybe. If not, I'm gonna have to just go under the car. Let me see if I can show you guys under the car where it's running at. I got my giant camera so you can't really see. No, I forgot. I have all the covers and stuff under here. So yeah, basically I'm gonna try and hit it on this return line that goes straight down under the car. I may mount it under the car, or I may try and mount it up here. All right, so this is really the best angle that I can get you guys. You can see what I did was take and set, I took this big plastic shield thing that's under here out, so the brake lines are here. And you guys see me probably working down, well, maybe you haven't seen me down here. This is where my return line runs. So this way is the engine, and then it's going back down on top of these brake lines back to the fuel return and the gas tank. So this is the most space I have right here. Like, I can set this sensor pretty much anywhere in here, and I think I'd be good. I would love to mount it like on the bottom underneath like this, but then I can't put that plastic shield back on. So I'm just gonna set this up top up here, just like this somewhere, I don't know, some kind of way. And then what I'm gonna do is just use the hole that's here and just kind of zip tie it on top of this brake line deal like that. And then I'll just run, I'll splice the line right here, cut the line, put my two fittings on, and then just install it. So I don't know, I got to put it in a way that I can get to the sensor, although I can always just cut the zip ties, pull this back some, and take the clip off if I need to. But it's more or less just going to go kind of in this area, which is just behind, it's kind of like just by the transmission cross member. So in case you guys want to know, can't really show you guys what I'm doing down here, but in case you guys have never done a PTFE fitting before, this is a PTFE hose. I already cut it down there. Usually you wouldn't have all this stuff on the end, but this is just to show how to do it. You cut the hose or use a hose that's already there, then you get your fitting, which is this thing right here. You'll unscrew it, and in here there's a ferrule. Make sure you don't lose a ferrule. That's this thing right here. So before you start, you'll take the back end and you'll slide it over all this so it's down here. I don't know if I can really show you guys that, but anyway, you'll just slip this over here, and after that you'll see that there's little stainless steel mesh in here, kind of just pry it away from the plastic tubing inside. So what you need to do is just slide this ferrule over the plastic tubing, but you need to slip it in between the stainless steel and the plastic tubing, so it'll just slot down in there like that. If you can imagine how that goes. And then after that, you go on ahead and just stick this guy straight into the plastic tube like this. It's kind of hard to do this, but you'll just slip that in there, tighten it up, and you'll be done. And I'll go ahead and show you what that piece looks like down underneath the car now, so that way you can see what it looks like. Got everything all done. You can see I got my flex fuel right here. Got 2 new straight 6AN straight fittings on, and it just runs up to the engine bay up there. Kind of just got the sensor zip tied into place. Plus, you know, these lines are pretty rigid and they're zip tied over there, so I don't think that this thing's gonna move. It should be fine where it's at. And plus, there's a big giant plastic cover that blocks all of this, and this shouldn't be disturbed at all. So just gonna wire it up inside the car. Like I said, you need a switch 12 volt. You can see I already got the connector right here. Connectors ran up and into the engine bay up there. So yeah, you just need a switch 12 volt, a ground, and the other wire is the input into the EMU Black. So if you are using the EMU Classic, you can use that as well. I forget what pin it goes into, but yeah, let me run up to the engine bay and show you guys what that looks like up there. Sorry, I keep switching back and forth between cameras. I'm holding a big camera. It's a DSLR, so I can't really get that under the car. So yeah, that's why I just switch back and forth between my GoPro and that. But nonetheless, the wiring, I already have it ran down into the firewall here. Remove this out of the way. I just need to go on ahead and kind of zip tie it up out of the way. But it's ran inside the car where I put my EMU at. So I have this mess of wiring now I get to deal with. Here's the EMU right here. Remember I mounted it to the plate here, so I just got to tap these 3 wires into the EMU and we'll be good to go. All right, I haven't got everything back together yet, but I did say I would mention what pin it goes into. If you're looking at the EMU Black, it would go into pin B7. B as in boy, 7 for the black connector, and that would say flex. I think it says flex input, and like I said, the other ones you just ground and power, and you'll be good to go. All right, so got everything back together. You can see behind me, I did have my throttle body and stuff off earlier. I got all that stuff back on. Everything is hooked back up. Fuel lines are done. I didn't put the little cover underneath the car yet, just because I want to make sure there's no leaks when I do go ahead and try and fire up the car. Oh, I also did an oil change as well, because why not? I'm already here. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just switch over to the laptop now and kind of just give a brief rundown of what you need to do in order to kind of enable the flex fuel sensor in the EMU Black. If you do this, you do need to tune the car. Like, it's not going to just, you turn it on and it works. It won't work that way. So if you don't know what you're doing, maybe don't turn it on quite yet. Have your tuner turn it on, or you could hit me up and I will definitely help you with your tuning stuff. But definitely, you can't just turn it on and just go drive, because it may try to switch to a different table, to which the other table would literally have nothing in it. So do this at your own risk, of course. I'm not going to be responsible for anything that happens to your engine. But let's go over to the laptop and I'll show you guys what to do. Once you get your software open, you'll want to go to the left side over here where it says Flex Fuel. You'll click on Flex Fuel, and then you'll open up the parameters, which I already have opened up over here on this side. So normally this box right here will be unchecked, so you'll just check it, and then all this stuff right here will pop up. So this is how you're going to turn it on. Now, just because you check it doesn't mean that it's going to blend any tables for you. Again, like I said, it'd be best to take this to a tuner to have them do what they need to do. But if you want to go on ahead and have it blend tables, you can see the selections here. There's blend VE table, blend ignition table, blend lambda tables, and so on and so forth. Of course, you'll have 2 different VE tables there. In the EMU Black, there is a main table, which is table 1, and then table 2 for VE. Table 2 being your E85 or methanol or whatever it is you want to use. That would be what that table is for. And so when you select, you would need to select blend VE tables here. And now that you have the flex fuel sensor reading, whatever percentage is in here, it'll go on ahead and blend the tables, seamlessly on all by itself, so you don't have to be doing that. That's provided you do have a good tune on your VE table 1 and a good tune on your VE table 2. So that's what you would need to check. If you wanted to blend the ignition tables, you can do that, and the lambda, and so on and so forth. Now, if you have this set and put into your return line like I do, you naturally would want to limit what the sensor can read. Obviously, if putting it in the feed line is probably the best way, although putting in the return line like I do is also very common to do as well. Basically, the maximum TPS to read sensor, you can pretty much clamp at what the sensor would stop reading at. Basically, if you go 100% throttle and you're just ripping on the car, it's going to be using a lot of the fuel that's coming into the rail, and not much fuel is going to be going back out the return. That doesn't mean no fuel is going out of the return. It just means a less volume is. So if you want to go ahead and clamp the sensor, like for me, and for instance, I have it clamped at 25%. So anything over 25% throttle, it's not going to read that. It's only just going to, read up to 25% and maintain what that reading is. So that will be where I leave it at. And then, like I said, all the other settings are over here on the left side if you want to do that. What you also need to do, though, is go down here to where it says other at, which is over here on the left side. Go other, then go to table switch. That's down there, way down there at the bottom. You see it says table switch. And then in here, this very top thing, it would say do not switch tables, but since you have the flex fuel sensor in, you can click on the flex fuel blend, and now that will enable the sensor to blend your tables for you. So these two settings need to be enabled in order for it to work. A lot of people get stuck and they only enable this and they think all is well, and it's not. You actually have to go to this as well and enable it to blend like so, and then make sure you click to make tables permanent. So in the car now, I will say I've already started the car mainly just to check for leaks. Everything is good, no leaks or anything like that. So I'll go ahead and show you guys that it is functioning now. I'll fire this thing up. So you can see right here, I have ethanol content right there. It's at 19% right now. I did recently switch back from E85 back to pump 91 gas, so there is going to be probably some in there. There is no way to really calibrate the sensor. Obviously the software is already set up for their sensor already, but yeah, it is reading. And if you look at the table here, it says flex fuel or FF blend VE, that brown line right there. You can see it's blending my table right now between VE table 2 and VE table 1. It's taking basically it's using most of this first table right here because there's not really much ethanol content in there. If I switch over to the other view here, you can see we're kind of sitting right here at 21, just below 21 because it's at 19%. And basically, if you're reading this table, the left side where it says 100% over there, it's using VE table 1 100%. As ethanol gets added, it gradually uses less and less of VE table 1 and uses VE table 2 only. That's how that is read. So yeah, it looks like it's working. I think I'm gonna go on ahead and go over to the gas station now, probably take you guys with me and fill up with some E85 just to see how it does and see how it reacts, and yeah, go from there. Hopefully everything is good. So far the flex fuel is still reading 19%, which is what it was reading before. Granted, even regular pump gas is going to have up to 10% ethanol or about 10% ethanol in it already. So being at 19 right now is probably normal. Maybe the pump 91 just so happened to have a little bit extra ethanol in it, but I'm hoping that that number goes up as I pump in some E85. Obviously every gas station is going to have varying levels, at least where I live at. It says right on the pump, it says E85, but it says the content can be between 51 and 81% ethanol, so you don't really know what you have, which is why it's very beneficial to have a flex fuel sensor. That way, in case you so happen to get, you know, a not so great batch of gas, the computer can go on ahead and compensate for the fueling and do what it needs to do. So I hope you guys can hear me okay, and I hope that this, I'm wearing the GoPro on like a headband right now, so I don't even know really what it's pointing at. Hopefully you guys can see me okay, I suppose. I have the car turned down right now. Maybe I'm making, I don't know, maybe 7 pounds of boost probably, but it's a little warm out today, so I don't really beat on the cars when they're warm. But now that I have E85, I'm more inclined to, you know, I could be a little bit harder on it, and it'll be all right. So far though, it's driving beautifully. Alright, so currently putting in E85 right now, so see if this number right here changes. Oh yeah, it's changing right now. You can see right here is going up. I'm not going to fill up on E85, it's just, and you can see that the blending over here is changing from 77 going to 75, 72, 67. So more and more it's now going over to the other table. Now granted, I just did a quick tune on an E85 table, so it's not going to be dialed in yet, but definitely the ethanol sensor is definitely working like it's supposed to be working, which is cool. So it seems like we landed on 62%. It looks like that's all that's going to be, and you can see it's definitely blending the table. It's already down to 26% over here, so it's using, basically right now it's using 75% of VE table 2 and 26% of VE table 1. Looks like we landed on about 63.5% ethanol right now, so cruising right now. AFRs are 13.8, so I could probably pull out a little bit of fuel, but like I said, overall it's fine. It'll drive just fine right now. Intake air temps are 89 degrees. I will say, I know this is off topic, but the CX Racing intercooler, it sucks. It doesn't do a very good job at trying to, you know, mitigate the intake air temps. It's just too small, so that definitely will be a nice upgrade to do to this car maybe next, because if I do a pull, you know, it'll gain about 20 degrees, which, you know, I've been in other cars and high horsepower cars, and you know, maybe they move up 5 degrees, maybe 10 degrees at max, but Yeah, this is definitely not ideal, but you know, kind of is what it is. Let me see if I do a little pull right here, see if this will the table is kind of right. Yeah, it was perfect. Made I think we made 7.5 pounds of boost right there. So not bad, not bad. I'll just have to go ahead and check the log on that, but overall it looks like the flex fuel sensor is working like it should be. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Now I can go on ahead and get this thing tuned, and still want to, I might be able to go back to the dyno now. You know, maybe with running E85 I won't feel so bad about beating on the engine when it's so hot. Mainly it's just the intake air temps that I'm worried about, and obviously this being a really high compression engine, last thing I want to do is blow it up. So, or at least I'm going to try to avoid that as best I can. So yeah, I'm gonna head back to the house and see you guys in a minute. So for some reason the outro on my other video, my mic was messed up, so here I am again the next morning. Car ran fantastic. As you can see, ethanol sensor is working good. My plan is to just, I'll put some more E85 into it to see if I can get what the maximum, you know, percentage I can get here, at least around me. I think it was at 63% was the highest I saw, but I think it should be able to go to maybe 70% ethanol, I hope, at least. But nonetheless, the sensor is working, and everything seems to be functioning perfectly. So just got to go ahead and dial in the tune some more and go from there. So sorry if it's a little bit of a longer video. I try to keep them short, but I just can't be as detailed as I feel I should be. So that's why they end up being so long. So if you guys have made it this long in the video, I appreciate you watching as usual. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and hit the like button. It really helps get the videos out there. If you have any comments or questions, as usual, just leave them in the comment section below, and I will always answer you guys to the best of my ability. All right, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.